You're listening to Randy Alvarez podcast. I'm Randy Alvarez. It's where we give you the inside scoop on healthcare and the medical lowdown. And with us, we have one of the icons of TV. In fact, one of the reasons why I started my show, most people know him by Body by Jake. It's Jake Steinfeld. He put personal training on the map, and literally Hollywood legends. If you were famous in the 80s and 90s, you called Body by Jake if you had to get ready for a movie. So Jake Steinfeld, welcome to the program.
Randy, thank you very much, buddy. I'm very proud of all the work that you're doing, pal, and it's great to be here. It's always, those intros are very sweet, very, very sweet. But yeah, you know, listen, go ahead.
No, go ahead,
Joe.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, you know, you talk about health and wellness and medical and, you know, and here we are living in this pandemic at this moment in time.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of shown a very, very bright light on, especially people, listen, over the age of 50. You mentioned to me you're in your 50s. I'm 62 now, you know, and you have to, you know, well, you too, brother. And, you know, we're concerned about our health, concerned about longevity. And I think if both of us were growing up and I said to you, hey, Rand, how old's your dad? And you said 62, you know, we'd say, wow, that's an old guy.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you something. I feel like I'm 21. And I'm a big believer in, you know, it's how you feel is how you are. But I'll take you back a bunch because.
By the way, for people that don't know you, because there's going to be people listening to this that don't know you. In the early, right. Start at the beginning. I mean, in the 80s and 90s, my understanding, Debbie Siebers, I think you know her. I interviewed her one time. Yeah. She did the Slim and Six. She said she worked for you, and she said it was not easy.
That's a blast of the past. She's very sweet.
She said she had Spielberg or somebody she was training that you gave her, and she said it was very tough to work for Jake because it was his way or the highway. And these people, you had to work people out hard and intense. She said it was a set in stone way. So how did you get your start? Was it personal training or what was it? You owned gyms? What happened?
Let me take you back. First of all, I was an overweight kid. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I had a very bad stutter growing up. My dad bought me a set of weights at 13 years old, Rand. Changed my life. I mean, it's one of those moments where here's exactly what happened. He called me out into the backyard. It's the summertime. He had set up a weight bench, and he said, come on, son, I'm the oldest of four. And he said, let's do some bench pressing. And I looked down at my Twinkies, and I said, this is not for me. And he was a guy that would ask you to do something once. And if you didn't jump in on it the first time, he left it alone. I also, I don't know where you grew up, but all East Coasters know.
LA area.
Oh, so you're an LA guy. So you didn't have basements. So, but growing up, if you're from the East Coast and you're the oldest, the cool thing was to have your bedroom in the basement. And my bedroom was in the basement. Okay. And off of my bedroom was the laundry room. So come time the fall, I never touched the weights. My father had me move the weight bench into the laundry room. And I'm doing my schoolwork. I was never much of a student. I loved the social life. I was kind of a shy kid only because of my stutter. And whatever the moment was, I'm a big believer. We'll talk a lot about that during this conversation about life is about moments, right? Okay. And in our lives, we have great moments, not so great moments. And this was a moment where I'm doing my homework. And the teacher is always, you know, they tell you to highlight the important things. Okay. And I don't know what's important. I don't know what's not important. I'm highlighting everything, Randy. And the same thing I've done every single night, I would glance out into the hall, and there's the laundry room. And for whatever the reason was, that night, I saw this Easy Curl bar, right? It's a little bent bar that my dad had brought. And I walked in, and I picked it up. I brought it back into my bedroom. Let me just give you a visual. Okay. So my bedroom was decorated. I had Alice Cooper poster on one wall, Jimi Hendrix poster on another wall. I had my black light, right, with my black with fishnet style, like a bar on the ceiling with stars painted in the black light paint. I also love to listen to Frank Sinatra's I Did It My Way. At the end of Frank's album, there's this wild applause for Frank. And I used to like to put it on and just to hear applause. I know, believe me, it gets worse. And so this moment happened. I brought the Easy Curl bar into the bedroom, put it on my ottoman, took this skinny mirror that was behind my bedroom door, put it on top of the ottoman. I queued up the album of Frank to the applause for Frank Sinatra. I put the cans on my ears, right, my headset. I was ready to pick up this bar, and I had my tank top, right?
Yeah.
And in my stomach hanging over my underpants. I had this afro, okay, and I had braces on, 13 years old. And I started doing my bicep curls to this applause of Frank Sinatra, and I just started to visualize Jake Steinfeld doing his bicep curls in front of 50,000 screaming fans at Madison Square Garden. And Randy, that's where it began. Right there, the weights and I connected. I had this feeling of empowerment, and I started standing up a little bit straighter. You know, the girls started to recognize me, and cut to a few years later, I had this dream.
So you lifted weights and you said, man, I love this. This is me.
Oh, man, 100%. It connected. It really connected with me. And I decided that this is what I want to do. I want to become Mr. America, you know? And I read all the magazines.
Were you like
I went
16
to college.
years old at the time? How old were you at the time?
I'm 13, 14, 15, 16, right? I'm taking you through now, brother. So I'm going through. So in high school, I get a chance to go to college, which I was the first one in my family to ever do. My parents never went to college, none of their family members. I'm the first one. I go to college upstate New York, you know, Cornell University.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? I went to Cortland, right down the street.
Okay.
So it's a great school, Division III school. But if people know upstate New York, it snows a lot up there. So it's not too conducive to walk around in your gold lame posing trunks and 18 inches of snow. And I'm in college now for 3 months. And all I'm thinking about is Venice, California, LA, bodybuilding.
And by the way, were you thinking you wanted to be a bodybuilder, famous bodybuilder?
Yes. Yeah, listen, it's 1970s, fall 1976, okay? Fall 1976. It's actually November 1976, okay? Pumping Iron. Okay. Right? Pumping Iron, Arnold Schwarzenegger starring for, which Pumping Iron is like my Gone with the Wind. All right? Yeah. That's like oh my goodness, man. I mean, I had a picture of Arnold on my wall, a picture of Louis on my wall at school. And I had this dream, truly, that I'm going to go to California to become a bodybuilder. But sometimes, Randy, I know you talk about this, maybe not medically, but what goes on with folks when you talk about your mind and spiritual. And, you know, a lot of people have dreams. We all dream. Yeah. But it's sometimes you don't express your dreams because you don't want, to get hurt, and you don't want to fail. And sometimes when you do express your dreams, it seems to be the people closest to you that sometimes are, I don't want to use the word most negative, but they give you a look. And with your family, sometimes they just don't want to see you get hurt. Friends are a little bit more tough. You know, I remember telling my friends I'm going to go to California and become a bodybuilder. They were like, Jake, you're a fat guy, man. You're not going to become Mr. America. And I remember the moment where my mom used to check in with me every day at college and would ask how poli-sci is going, how's English going. And I finally got the courage up, Randy. And I took a deep breath. I said, Ma, I'm going to go to California to become a bodybuilder. Silence on the phone.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I hear my mother, Herbie, my dad, pick up the phone and talk to your kid. I'm putting my head in the oven. And that was a moment where that bus ride from upstate New York down, we moved to Baldwin, Long Island, right? Okay. Seemed like I was going from New York to Australia because I finally said what my dream was, right? And of course, my dad.
You mean you finally admitted it to another person? Your family.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. But think about it. Let's just stop for a second, because this is important. A lot of people listen to your show. Everybody has dreams. And you think about all the dreams that you have and the aspirations that you have. And here's what happens to a lot of people, because I do a lot of speaking and I've done it for many years.
Yeah.
And this is what I've learned. You have this great idea. You get excited about it. So before you go to bed, you write it down, or however you do it. And then you wake up in the morning, and before you have your cup of coffee, before you walk out that door, you've created the 2,700 reasons why you can't succeed.
Okay.
So before you walk out your door, you stop you. And I'm here to say, throughout my career, which is what I've always spoken about, is take the shot. The worst that happens to you, the last thing you want to have happen to you, Randy, in your life, is you look in the mirror at 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 and say, when I was 23, I had this idea. When I was 33, I had an idea. When I was 43 or 53, the worst that happens to you is you fail. Failure
by the
is
way,
not.
Back then, were you reading, like, look, back then, too, in the early 80s, 83, I'm reading Schwarzenegger's book. You mentioned Lou Ferrigno. I'm reading. Right, but before that, were you reading all the muscle magazines and kind of convincing yourself that you can do it?
Randy, I read all the muscle magazines, man. And that's the thing. So I got out to L.A.
Yeah.
I entered the Mr. Southern California contest fall 1978. The guy that beats me is on steroids. Now, wait a second. I read all the magazines. Nobody mentioned steroids. Everybody says, eat 18 eggs and 24 chickens a day, and you too can become Mr. America. I clucked a lot, but I didn't become Mr. America. And this was another moment in my life. Now, I've been married going on 32 years. My wife, Tracy, and I, we have great marriage. She's the greatest in the world. We have 4 terrific kids. And I've always talked to my kids about decision making. Now, just like you probably do too, Red. And I've always said to them, if you have to think about something too long or too hard, it's probably something you shouldn't be doing. And for me, at 18 years old, going on 19, I had to make a decision that I wasn't going to take steroids. And the reason why I didn't take steroids is because, flatly, I was afraid. Okay. Back in 4th grade and 5th grade, remember the nurse would give you the TB test where they'd put your arm out, they give you a 4 little prong, little prick. I'd faint during that, right? So here, I'm at the gym watching these guys putting needles in their own battissimos, and I'm like, I can't do this, truly. And I had to make a decision. I knew in my mind, I said, I love what working out did for me. I was sad. I was upset because I couldn't pursue this dream as a professional bodybuilder, because the only way you can be a professional bodybuilder is if you take steroids. Okay. That is a common. That's common. That's no secret. But here I was. This was my dream, Randy. But I love working out. I love what it did for me. I didn't want to go back to New York a loser. And in my mind, if I went back to New York, my friends would have said, told you. My dad said, be back in 6 months. You go back to school. I said, no. I love it here in L.A. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to.
You're in Venice. You're hanging with those guys, because it was like the bodybuilding scene, from my understanding. Like they were all hanging out in Venice and at Gold's Gym out there. So you kind of knew all the guys.
I trained at World Gym. Joe Gold had sold Gold's and opened up World Gym, 2nd floor on Main Street in Venice. I mean, I say this was the time when the dinosaurs still roamed the earth, meaning, the big bodybuilders, right? Yeah. And I was right there, right in the heyday of it all. But I made a move because I couldn't compete. They're all taking steroids. So personally, I said, I'm going to stay in LA. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I do know one thing. I love working out. I love how I feel. And here I was living in Studio City. This is 1979 now. I'm working out, right? I'm bouncing in a bar at night and doing what every good musclehead does, right? Catching rays in the morning, working out, and then bouncing at night. I'm living in Studio City, and this actress comes over to me, And passes. I've recognized her from the apartment, and she stopped and she said, I see you here all the time. I said, yeah, I'm Jake. She goes, oh, hi, I'm Sandy. She says, listen, I got a Club Med commercial I've got to do. I got 6 weeks to get in shape. She goes, I'm wondering if you can kind of help me with a workout. And I said, okay, And now she goes, listen, I like you, but I don't want to look like you.
Okay.
So in essence, if you remember, and I'm sure you do, back in 78, 79, 80, women were very intimidated by using weights. Jane had just come on the scene with the high impact aerobic stuff. Women thought that they use weight, they're going to get big muscles.
Yeah. I mean, Rachel McLeish, who's now would be considered so skinny, was considered muscle bound. She was one of the first Miss Olympias. So
terrific. And so we talked for a couple minutes. She said, could you come up with a workout for me? I said, I think I could do that. And she goes, great.
Your first personal training job. Were they called personal trainers back then? Was there such a thing?
There was nobody. This was nothing. There was no such a thing. There was nothing. Okay. And she said, could you come to my boyfriend's house and do the workout there? And I said, sure. Okay. She goes, how much? I go, how much for what? She goes, how much for the workout? I go, give me gas money for my 1977 white Camaro with Jake 77 on the license plate. I always kept a very low profile, Randy. Yeah. You got to keep it low,
Yeah.
And she said, done. Okay, I come up with this 30-minute routine that I incorporated literally a broomstick, a towel, and a chair, and 2 cans of Mama's tomato paste, right? The towel, resistance training, right, Randy? If I say to you, Randy, hold the towel, I'm going to pull down, and you pull up, let's do bicep curls or tricep extensions. I'm putting more resistance on you than if I were to have you pick up 2 25-pound dumbbells. But psychologically, it's a bath towel. It's just Jake, holding down, we're having some fun. And I came up with a 30-minute workout because I love going to the gym, but I never hung around the gym.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, you were doing these movements because you didn't have the money to bring dumbbells over to her house? You just didn't You didn't have the equipment? Or you believed in this type of workout?
Randy, it had nothing to do with dumbbells. You got to remember, try to erase. It's like, what did the world look like before this thing, right? I mean, everybody had to use the dial-up phone, right? So there was no personal training. It was not about taking a dumbbell to someone's house. I purposely said, I'm going to go to this gal's place to work her out there. And she said, would you come there? Okay, fine. So I come up with this 30-minute workout. I drive to Beverly Hills, and by the way, the 30-minute workout was set up because I have an A-type personality. I felt she did. And the bottom line is, and this, exercise is boring. It's boring unless you dig it and unless you create something that fits into your lifestyle. Not you having to fit your lifestyle into somebody else's routine.
Okay.
So I wanted to create something that she could take anywhere, that she can do anywhere, and might be efficient. Now, I didn't know if it was going to work or not. I knew the exercises were sound, right? So let's give it a shot. I go to her boyfriend's house, knock on the door, Beverly Hills. If you weren't on the cover of Musclehead Digest, I didn't know who you were.
Okay.
Guy answers the door. Turns out to be Francis Ford Coppola.
Wow.
And I just looked, I said, hey, this guy could use a workout too. And they started going to parties, and people started saying, you look great, Sandy. What are you doing? This guy, Jake, comes to my house. He's got this 30-minute workout. It was a broomstick, a towel, and a chair. It's really fun. He's kind of funny, but he eats too much. They had a great refrigerator.
Okay.
And I had no fun. So after the workout was over, man, I'd open that fridge and just protein out, and it was great. By the way,
did you know at that moment, like you're training her, are you going, man, this is like bliss? Like it's like time, like that 30 minutes was like that for you? Like, did you know, like, I love this?
I loved it, but I had no idea. There was no business plan. There was no nothing. And here's what happened. These guys are famous people, right? They start going to parties and they start saying, this is really kind of cool. And everyone's saying, what a great idea. give me this guy's phone number. Now, I literally went from upstate New York, remember, Randy,
Yeah.
to LA. And remember, back in the day, there were no cell phones. You had to list your phone number. I never listed my phone number in the phone book. And one thing about this town, LA, or probably anywhere, people want to get a hold of you, and they can't. They seem to want you more. And it became this mystique of, who is this guy? You got to get him. And I had this one-room apartment in Studio City, California, and I had my little answering machine, right? And on my answering machine, every day, I would get messages from people like Steven Spielberg, Harrison Ford, Priscilla Presley, Bette Midler, Warren Beatty, Barbra Streisand. I mean, the biggest stars in the world. I started traveling.
And you're going to their house and working them out.
I'm going to their house.
Did you get more sophisticated, or you're still using the towels and the broomsticks?
Broomstick, towel, 2 chairs, 2 cans of Mama's tomato paste, and that's what it was. And
wow.
I trained Harrison Ford that way for Raiders and Temple of Doom. And
is that where the Body by Jake started coming in? Did somebody else nickname you that?
Well, here's how it all happened. And it was like this moment again where, first of all, I learned this amazing lesson. Here I am hanging with these people, and I learned that, Randy, they're no different than you and me. The only difference is they had a dream, and they never quit on their dream and never took no for an answer. And that gave me all the incentive in the world to say to myself, wait a second, I might never direct E.T. 2, but I'm going to have my own success in life. And right there and then, I started a parlay that famous by association into videos and books and television shows. Ted Turner gave me my start doing the fitness break on cable news network in 1981.
Is that right? Would you have a little spot on a big half-hour show on?
No, man, no. He called. Now, I was getting cast in movies because I was training guys.
You were a famous cab driver for a while, right?
Oh,
I'm being
sarcastic.
Coming to America. I remember watching that, and I go, oh, my God, Body by Jake. I was more impressed with that than I think the rest of the movie that day, because I was such a fan of yours.
I tell you something. Everybody was so much too so that they'd done Coming to America 2. They asked me to reprise the role, not as a cab driver, but as an Uber guy, I guess it was. And I probably would have done it, but we were taking our youngest son to do his first semester of college in Rome. This was last year. And the dates conflicted. And then I said, you know what? My original.
That's a bummer.
No, because
I'm just saying it's a bummer that you couldn't be two things. Do it another time.
No. But my performance in Coming to America as a cab driver, I mean, that's so damn memorable. I mean, I was up for an Academy Award for that.
You had the umph. I mean, you still had that vibe because you have incredible charisma. It's kind of like Tony Robbins of personal trainers. I mean, you were like electrifying. It was like Jack LaLanne. He was a master.
Yes.
And watching you, I remember I wasn't doing your workouts ever. I was just watching you because I wanted to be you. I thought, I'm serious. You're like, where you had those guys? I was going, I want to be like this guy. I want to be on TV. I want to be passionate, something healthy. And anyway, enough about me. So back to you. Okay, so you're getting Spielberg. You got all these guys. You parlay it into movie roles.
Right. So all this stuff is happening for me, right? And I moved from Studio City to Westwood. Now, this is now 1980, 81. And I get a phone call on my machine from this guy, Ted Turner. And I don't know who Ted Turner is, but I'm also training Hugh Hefner at the Playboy Mansion. And I check out who this guy, Ted Turner, is. No, he's legit. Yeah. And he wanted me to do a fitness show for his cable news network to make it more family friendly. Now, as I said, I'm getting cast in some movie roles, and I'm starting to think, wait a second, maybe I want to be an actor, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember talking to him, and literally, Ted became a great mentor to me. And I said, I'm going to think about this, truly. And I thought to myself, wait a second. What if this guy?
By the way, how does that call start? Like when Ted Turner's on the phone with you, you did a little. There was no Google, right? But you had to ask around who's Ted Turner. What does he say?
No. he called. I called the guy back. I thought he wanted to work out. I didn't know. I figured, and he's from Atlanta and he's got this cable network. And I said, what's cable? Westwood didn't have cable yet.
Yeah.
I don't know what cable is, right? He explained that he wanted this. It's a global news network, 24-hour. I'm thinking, gee whiz, who wants to watch something like that?
Because you hear, but look, in what you do, just like with what I do, you hear a bunch of dreamers with all these big ideas. So you're thinking maybe Ted Turner's just another guy with a crazy idea of 24-hour television.
Bro, no, it had launched, right?
Oh, it already started, okay.
And he had wanted to make it more family friendly, and he had seen an article on me in People magazine about me training Steven Spielberg and Terry Garr and all these, big time celebrities and movie stars in the early 80s. And he said, I want you to do a fitness show. And I said, let me think about it, because like I said, I thought I was going to be acting. And I said, as I'm driving to my next client, I thought, hey, I got an idea. What if this guy paid me to do a commercial to promote me? That could be kind of fun. So what I did was I was on my way to Hugh Hefner, right, at the Playboy Mansion. I asked Hef, did he know Ted? Yes, I know Ted Turner. I said, I pitched him the idea of sort of a 60-second vignette, which I call Fitness Break by Jake. Now today, interestingly enough, 60 seconds is considered long-form programming, right? And I said, what if we just did this commercial? And I asked him if can I borrow 12 Playmates? And I want to do these exercises that I do with my clients, right? Okay. I want to demonstrate on television, but have the models demonstrating with me with a broomstick, a towel, all the fun things. He said, great. I asked my buddy Steven Spielberg, who I nicknamed Wheels, if I could use his beach house on Broad Beach. And he said, no problem. And Ted Turner literally gave me my first big gig. He gave me $30,000 to shoot 200 one-minute vignettes. And
what would you call them again? They were like Body by Jake minutes? What were they called?
It was called the Fitness Break by Jake. And basically, here's how it went. Hey, gang, I'm Jake of Body by Jake with your fitness tip of the day. Today, we're going to work the old Battissimo. And with me is Brenda and Marilyn. They're going to demonstrate, and we're going to do the Battissimo lunge. And we're going to do 10 repetitions, and let's get into it right now. One, keep it tight, keep it going. And then at the end of every spot that I ever did, and continue to do to this day, I always end with stick to the fight when your hardest hit. It's when things seem worst that you must not quit. Don't quit. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. And that went global because Ted Service, ran my little fitness breaks ran 3 times a day here in the States, but about 10 and 12 times an hour around the world, because he used my stuff as filler. Because they didn't have sponsors or advertisers. Yeah. And I had no idea the audience that I was building, the base that I was building around.
Everybody, now regular people, not just celebrities, will recognize you on the street, right?
Oh, it was great. And then everything I got into doing. Listen, here's the thing that I want to get across to everyone who's listening. Yeah. It's about dreaming, and it's about believing in yourself. And the world lets you be what you make them believe you are. The world lets you be what you make them believe you are. If you say, Randy, you say to me, hey, listen, I'm masterful at producing infomercials, Jake. I'm masterful at hosting my shows. Well, you convinced me, brother. And Randy's a star. That's what you have to believe in, you as a brand and as a product. And that's what I learned. And I learned it from the greatest, from the most famous people in the world, that I learned from what to do and what not to do, how to be and how not to be in situations. And I got the best schooling that I ever could have gotten at any Harvard or any Stanford or any Yale or anything. No disrespect to any of those terrific schools. I've spoken at Stanford and great schools like that, on entrepreneurial business.
Now, did you always have this big, enthusiastic personality? I mean, or were you? Because I meet some guys that are dynamos, I meet some dynamos, and off camera they're not so much, but then they turn on. Were you a guy like this all the time? My take is you're kind of like this all the time.
I'm always like this, man. You get me like this, whenever this is on or this thing is flipped off. It's this is, you know what?
And you probably treated those celebrities like they were regular people.
That's the only way I knew how, Randy. And that, that's a great comment. And that's really, for me, I always gave everybody a nickname. And I did that since I was a little kid. And I did it as a little kid because when I was younger, right, and I had this stutter, I came up with nicknames for friends so I wouldn't stutter. And when I started training people too, I said, wait a second, these are great people, but if I come up with a nickname, it's no different than, I want to make them like we're all back in junior high or high school. So it's a level playing field.
Very nice. I think you even called me Rand at the beginning. Look, we just met today, and you go, "Hey, Rand," or so you shortened my name a little bit. It was very, it just obvious right off the bat. I'm going, it's cool. He's calling me Rand, Nice.
That's it. Well, but that's what what it does for me is it makes you comfortable and it makes me comfortable, and there's a barrier that's broken of, hey, this is going to be kind of a little warmer and cozier than I might have expected, and it's always nice. It's nice to be nice. I think that when you approach anything that way, good things happen from being positive, and that's always been what I've always done. So when I was training all these people, learning what I was doing, the Fitness Break on cable news network, parlayed that into television shows. I did in first run syndication, Body by Jake on ESPN. I did Body by Jake and got into the infomercial business, which was something that I never thought that I would ever get into, because the early days we talked off camera about the fact that that's not what I don't want to be doing infomercials,
Yeah.
And I saw an opportunity that, wait a second, if you can do the infomercial your way, it's your product, it's your brand. I'm not a spokesperson, it's my company. I'm willing to take that shot. Now, this is direct response. As you know, Randy, you're very adept with that and very successful at it too. That we were there in the early days of direct-to-consumer marketing, which today is all the rage, right? But I've always believed, I felt that if I can talk to you, where that's how I visualize. As I'm looking into that camera, I visualize talking to you, your mom or your dad, on a Saturday night after a big Italian meal, and you're flipping around, and, oh, hey, wait, there's Jake. Let's see what he's got. And, you're ready for change. And that's how I always envisioned whatever I was selling. And when we started Body by Jake, and that's a whole story of itself, because at that moment, this is the early 80s,
Yeah.
a publicist called, because I was training all these people, and they were saying, this is incredible, all these people, what's the name of your company? And I went, Body by Jake. And they go, wow, that's really awesome. And I had 12 T-shirts made up. True story. I had 12 T-shirts made up. Body by Jake on the front. And I'll tell you what I said on the back after I tell you the story.
Yeah.
I passed out the 12 T-shirts to my 12 clients, right? All these great people. And I gave a Body by Jake T-shirt to Steven Spielberg. And he looked at the shirt. He goes, Body by Jake. He says, wow, man, that's terrific, Jake. That's a brand. I mean, that's a brand that I think of, like man. And he turned it around, and on the back, I put the Steinfeld method. And he goes, the Steinfeld method? What are you? Are you a dentist? What are you? Yeah, he goes, get rid of that. Steinfeld, methods are fads, right? Okay. Fads come and go. Brands, if worked properly, can live forever. And he told me that in 1981. And it's something that I've lived with about each of us are a brand.
Do you keep in touch with any of these guys?
All the time, absolutely.
Good for you.
No, they've been great. They've been like big brothers to me and mentors to me. It's been it's been tremendous. I use them as sounding boards to check in, especially during this pandemic. I mean, it's been kind of crazy, as we all know.
I mean, you were like the king of the in-home workout. I mean, really. I mean, you were the guy. You and Jack LaLanne. I mean, nobody would dispute that. You guys were the kings of at-home workouts. So right now.
That's what happened. I'm going to tell you something. And first of all, Jack was such a terrific guy and became a great friend to me, and his great wife Elaine, awesome people, and just having the ability. Randy, you just in life, man. If you take shots and take chances with yourself, you never know how far you can go. Unless you try, and truly, unless you take the shot. The worst thing that happens, like I said, is that you fail. Failure is not death. Death is death, right? But failure, and you can talk to any entrepreneur, you have to fail a lot in order to succeed. And here's what happens too. See, I was a guy with a C average in school. So if I got a 73 or a 74 on a test, my mom would buy me ice cream. So that was a big moment. Right? And what happens too, which is what I speak about, a lot of guys with, really, really bright dudes, never got under an A in school, are a lot harder when they want to take a chance in business, because you can think and be very calculating of the 700 reasons why something is not going to work. And by the way, you're probably right.
There's a book. It's titled, I'm pretty sure it's titled this, Why A students work for C students, because the C and D students are outside of the box. They're not following rules. The A students are really good at following the rules, and these D and C's are more like outside of the box, making their own way. It's very interesting that you say that. Hey, by the way, I have to do this for my viewers. I got to bring this up. My face is orange. I was doing a little thing at the dermatologist yesterday, doing a little shoot, and they go, "We got to zap your face," and so I'm all puffed out, and I had to put makeup on because I'm beet red under here, so I had to throw that in so people know that.
Good.
I didn't do some weird plastic surgery thing. It was this little laser.
I said you're looking pretty tan today, brother, but then I don't know you any other. So
it's orange.
You look great.
It's orange. But we're going to color correct this so it won't look so bad. So I interrupted you. So back to you, because look. Is it just about just doing it like what Nike says? You said earlier, if you got to think about it, I'm paraphrasing you, but if you have to think about it too long, if you're unsure, maybe it's not the right thing for you. Could you tell me that again?
Yeah, no, it's about decision making, right? And if you have to think about something too long, it's probably something you shouldn't be doing.
Okay.
And I will tell you, for myself in life, I was just kept parlaying the famous by association into videos, books, and television shows, the infomercial business, home shopping. I spent 17 years going down to Tampa, St. Pete, doing live selling on television, which is such a great exercise to do. And when I was in the infomercial business, if you looked at my company, what we did is we released a product, one product a year. So if we were a movie studio, think of a movie studio only releasing one movie a year. That's what we did. We had one product a year that we released, and we worked diligently. And thank goodness we were very successful at it, because the products that we designed,
DVDs, exercise equipment, things like that.
No. I was in the DVD. I was in the home video market. My first exercise video came out in 1983. I got away and I got into the hard good fitness. So, the Firm Flex, Ab Back Plus, the Ab Scissor. I
remember.
We had the number one home fitness equipment brand in the country for over 10 years in a row running. And we prided ourselves on the products we made. And, look, that's everything I've ever done, because your name is on something. So parlaying all that, I got into doing a lot of the acting stuff. I did a sitcom on the Family Channel, which was called Big Brother Jake, which was great. And then I had this dream to create the first linear fitness television network, which is called Fit TV, because it happened in 1990.
Right? You sold that?
I sold it to Rupert Murdoch in '98. Okay. But the essence of it came from I had been doing my fitness show, right, for a lot of years. I had done about 800 episodes of Body by Jake and another 800 vignettes. And it was like, okay, I was on ESPN on a block of fitness shows, and I'm always looking outside the box, and you learn. And once you get outside of yourself, you can really do pretty great things. Because look, we all have egos. And if egos get in the way, that's when things kind of stymie you a little bit. And I thought, wait a second, what if I created a linear fitness television network and we can introduce new stars, we can really have some fun with this, right? It could be very interesting. We launched Fit TV, the first linear fitness television network based on the original headline news wheel. So Ted Turner, my mentor, right? Remember the original headline news?
I remember.
Was those 1 hour, 60-minute wheels. Top of the hour was global news, right? Then they had local, they did cooking and things like that. Then they did sports. I said, we should do that with fitness. So top of the hour was aerobic. Bottom of the hour was called Body by Jake. In between was cooking segments, and the last 15 minutes of every hour was our version of home shopping, of a stylized infomercial that we shot live to tape. And we grew the service to about 35 million homes, and fortunately was able to sell it to Rupert Murdoch in 1998. Nice. And it was a great moment. And then immediately went on to launch the first on-demand network for fitness called Exercise TV, and sold that back to Comcast. I had Comcast and Time Warner as a partner, but did that all from relationship building, Randy. This is where it all comes from. And everything in my life has always revolved around hope and health and smiles and family. And all of that sort of in a nice little package is what I've always tried to present and always tried to produce, because I knew I could never talk above people. I would never want to talk below anybody. I always talk to them. So I'm pretty good at disseminating what doctors are saying and make you, when you hear it, you don't get white coat hypertension when you hear from Jake. And so I had this dream once again. Basketball was my first love. And when I sold Fit TV, I would have loved to have bought an NBA team, because that's my first love. But nobody was buying. No one could help me in LA that I knew to help me look at what do I do, because everybody in town at that time were buying minor league baseball teams. That was 1997, 98. Okay. And I wasn't interested in minor league baseball teams. And one thing led to another. And this is a great story. I had a magazine that I did called Body by Jake, short-lived magazine with Hachette Filipaki. And I have 6 weeks to go before the first issue is coming out, Randy. I got no advertisers. I mean, I got zero. Yeah. And I'm reading everything. I don't know about you. I'm reading Advertising Age, Adweek, you name it. And I used to call it dialing for dollars, where I would recognize a name. Hey, Randy Alvarez. I know Randy. I did a show with him. Let me call and see what he's doing. And here I was looking at Advertising Age. And there was a friend that I remember that worked at Reebok, who's Paul Fireman, great man, signed my first endorsement deal on Angel Martinez back in the early 80s. And a guy that worked there became friends of mine. And I had seen he's now the new CMO at Ford. I go, pick up the phone. Wow. Dave, how you doing? He goes, Jay, great to hear from you. I said, listen, I got this new magazine. I need 5 pages from you. He goes, Jake, I got the job a week ago. I said, well, that's why I didn't ask you for 10 pages. Just can I get 5 pages from you, man? He goes, give me a couple of months. I go, I don't have a couple of months. I've got to do this now. And he was fighting me. And I said, wait a second. How about I deliver John Kennedy? He goes, what? Because John Kennedy was doing a magazine called George.
Yeah.
If you remember.
I remember that. Of course.
Right? He goes, wait a second. What do you mean deliver John Kennedy? You bring John Kennedy to Detroit? Obviously, John Kennedy Jr., right? Yeah. You bring him to Detroit? I said, that's what I said, Dave. He goes, I'll tell you. You bring John Kennedy to Detroit, I'll find some pages for you. I go, great. Hung up the phone.
By the way, was there a
John.
discussion about money? Like how much these 5 pages were?
No, there was nothing. This is, you got to remember, man.
It was your
when
friend,
you're doing
right?
this,
Yeah.
the guy I knew, I figured that the way, and listen, I have never, I did a book, right? One of the books I've done was called "I've Seen a Lot of Famous People Naked and They Got Nothing on You." And it was Business Secrets from a Street Smart Entrepreneur, where I taught you how to put together a street smart business plan. I didn't go to college, so I didn't know how to write a business plan up. It's a relationships, right? I'm going to help you out. You help me. I'll make you look good, Rand. You make me look good. That's the way I've always done deals.
You go with JFK Jr. to Detroit. What happens?
So wait a second. I don't know John yet. So I told the publisher.
I don't know him yet.
I'd never met John yet, right? I called the publisher and I tell him, I have this opportunity. Could you introduce me to John? He says, come to New York. I spent 3 days there. We hung out. We got on the private plane of the companies and we flew to Detroit. John and I, we really we built a nice little friendship. And I got my pages. And on the plane ride home, well, we also brought Ralph Lauren, Polo. Yeah. His son, Dave, at the time, did a custom pub job called Swing. And it was a magazine where kids were doing in their 20s. So the three of us switched magazines. The boys went back to New York privately, and I went commercial back home to L.A. And on the plane ride home, remember, I just sold Fit TV, the NBA thing I'm not thinking about, and I opened up a magazine. And there's a picture of this guy holding this lacrosse stick in his hand. I played lacrosse in high school. I got into college because I played lacrosse. And I read the story about this kid, Dave Morrow, who started a company in his dorm room called Prince, which was called Warrior. And it was interesting, the story, but he was making lacrosse a lifestyle. I said, this guy is like a young Phil Knight. He's onto something. So the entrepreneur in me, I called up David Loren, and I said, hey, I saw the magazine. It's great. I read a story about this kid. Could I get the writer's name? I want to talk to this guy. One thing leads to another. I called Dave Morrow, and I asked him one question. Is there such a thing as pro outdoor lacrosse? And he said, no. I go, well, there is now. And we lit up Major League Lacrosse. We got together in '98, May '98. We did our summer showcase in 2000. We just finished 20 years of the league this past summer. And it's something that is a business venture. I'm not very much involved in anymore, but to create something that wasn't there before, and the essence of the reason why I did it, Rand, is because as a kid who played lacrosse, right, there was no poster to hang on your wall, right? As a kid from New York, I had, Willis Reed, who played for the New York Knicks, Walt Frazier, who played for the Knicks, Mickey Mantle, right? Lacrosse kids didn't have an icon. And I always wanted to say, I want to be able to create Major League Lacrosse here so kids have a dream to one day say that after college, I can play professional. And mission accomplished on that one. And it's been
you've done so many things amazing. I mean, I know you carried the torch at the Olympics. Is that right?
Yeah, man. Summer 2012. That was a great one. So I got the honor. Coca-Cola has been very supportive of me. We are partners. I've been the chair of the National Foundation for Governors Fitness Councils, where I've been doing this now this is my 8th year doing it. I put fitness centers in elementary and middle schools around this great country of ours. I started chair of the Fitness Council in California with Arnold when he was governor, and then with Jerry Brown for a year. And I've been in this position for the past 8. We just literally finished this virtual ribbon cutting tour where I call governors cold, 4 states each year. Do my homework on the governors. This year, I did Kay Ivey in Alabama, Kevin Stitt in Oklahoma, Eric Holcomb in Indiana, and Andy Bashir in Kentucky. And we've got 3 brand new $100,000 Don't Quit Fitness centers for each state. And I've got great sponsors, Coca-Cola, Anthem, Wheels Up, and Nike. And like I said, it's so cool. I will send you a video.
Yeah,
you'll see.
I got to see it. By the way, we have time. I want to ask you, if you don't mind, about this drink, like about this protein drink, health drink. Tell me about this.
Well, let me just say this. So, obviously my life has been about health, right? But I love to eat. I eat like I'm going to the electric chair. My family eats like we're going to the electric chair every meal. That's why I train, so I could eat. I've never been a supplement taker. I never take vitamins. So over the years, as you know, me, infomercial business, continuity, I never sold vitamins because I never took them. But I always love protein shakes. And the protein shakes, if they're good for you, they don't taste good. And I had an opportunity a couple of years ago, met with a great guy named Danny Stepper, company called LA Libations here in LA. Think of this as a, incubator in Silicon Valley for tech. LA Libations is an incubator in the beverage world. So I had a couple of investments that I was told to go see him on. Nothing to do with what I'm going to tell you about. And I thought he would be interested in investing. I go to El Segundo. He doesn't like anything I'm pitching. And we talked for a little bit. And I had mentioned to him that I own the trademark to the words "don't quit." Told him the story. I was cut from my 8th grade basketball team. A friend gave me a poem called "Don't Quit." 14 years old, stuck with me, became a Bible verse. The last 2 lines, which I've told you earlier on in the show: stick to the fight when your hardest hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. He goes, wait a second. You own the trademark to "don't quit"? He goes, dude, are you familiar with the brands Ensure and Boost? And I go, sure, Boost. I see the commercials. He goes, it's the category is adult nutrition. He said, have you looked at the ingredient panel on both of those products? He says they're garbage. They're chemicals.
Yeah.
Chemicals. He said,
sugar water.
We've been working on formulation to disrupt this market. We should do this together. And I just met the guy 23 minutes ago who told me no on 2 other things. Now he says, let's do this. I did my homework. Do you know there's over 110 million Americans over the age of 50? Okay. All of us, right? Not about struggling, but concerned about our health, our well-being, nutrition. I always thought about convenience. All my fitness products were convenient, right? All the things you can do, simple. Keep it simple, you can, right? So we started working. We partnered up with Keurig Dr. Pepper. Incredible people, man. The CEO, Bob Gamcourt, there are a few CEOs in corporate America that are entrepreneurial. This guy is one. Pam Cahaley from Anthem is another person. She runs Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona now, a superstar. But Bob Gamcourt, we meet with, and we start talking about adult nutrition. And I said, I thought very honestly in my life that I was never going to use "don't quit" on a product. Now, I've had books subtitled "Don't Quit," and I thought I'd just pass it on to my children. And here I am now. Wait a second. We can do this product. I said, if we do it, right, and my name is going to be on it, it's my company, right? It's got to have a clean label, so no soy, no corn, no wheat, no artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners, gluten-free, kosher. Bottom line, it's got to taste great. We did our testing for a year. We kicked ass on Boost and Ensure.
What's the protein source? What's the protein source?
So we have a milk protein concentrate that we use. Okay, so it's even if you're lactose intolerant on it, it's great. There's a small percentage of people can't enjoy it, but we have 10 grams of protein, 26 vitamins and minerals, our original flavor. Now, in the adult nutrition section, okay, a lot of people need their carbohydrates. So we have 26 vitamins and minerals. We do have less sugar than Boost and Ensure, but as you know, our sugar is pure cane sugar, so it's all natural. Okay. On our max, and then we have a max version, chocolate and vanilla, 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. But I'm going to show you. So our flavors are chocolate and vanilla, and our original chocolate. Look at this. There's "Don't Quit" right there.
Love it.
We have chocolate, vanilla, right? Chai tea, and my favorite is orange-sicle, right? Now, when you open the fridge in the morning, Rand, and you see those 2 words, "Don't Quit," think about what that does to your day. Think about what that does for you. Midday, use this as a meal replacement. A lot of people are using it as a meal supplement. You go to don'tquit.com and check it out. But what I'm loving is that people are submitting recipes already with how they
shakes and smoothies.
something. It's been incredible.
But by the way, your 1 gram of sugar, is it like 3 carbs, or how many carbs in that? Because the keto movement is big. It's here. So
yes, exactly.
Are you doing it with stevia? What are you doing for the sweetener?
Well, I'm just telling you right now. We've come up with incredible source. It's absolutely amazing, and it is the first clean label in this category. I'm going to read you something because this just came in.
Boost and Ensure is an absolute. It's terrible what they're doing to these people. Because look, you're in your 60s, you're in your 70s. You've never really paid about nutrition, and your primary care says, maybe you need to get some Ensure or Boost. It's just sugar water.
Exactly, Randy. Let me just read this to you. With this unsolicited, this is hot off of our press. I got this in. This is from a doc. Her name is Judy Woolger, associate professor of medicine at the University of Miami. Okay, this is what she says. Don't Quit has the clean label advantage that doctors like me have been desperately waiting for. Until now, patients only had options for products filled with ingredients that can cause inflammation, digestive problems, and allergic reactions. With Don't Quit, I feel confident that my patients are going to get the protein, nutrients, and vitamins they need without sacrificing their health. That to me was, look, I'm not a doctor, not a kinesiologist. My superpower, we all have it, is to be able to motivate you to do something that you couldn't do yesterday. And for me, I want to find the great thing about Don't Quit is it's convenient. It's great for you, right? It's healthy, especially right now. I don't want to talk about, I've done a bunch of shows these last 5 weeks now, and they said, this is like a vaccine. Well, it's a vaccine because we talk about good health, right? If you're healthy, you're strong. You're strong. You are not as susceptible to any kind of those kinds of illnesses,
Has it
right?
rolled out already? How do you get it now? I already want it.
Well, first of all, go to don'tquit.com, check it out. You can go to Amazon. It's available there. We're available starting tomorrow on all Ralphs. But we're also in now Safeway, Vons, Albertsons, and Pavilions. 2,000 stores. We roll out at Walmart and Kroger is this week. Let's see, Kroger is this week and Walmart is November 1st.
Wow. Are they going to put you on TV? I hope I see some 15-second spots, 30 seconds.
We've got a great.
They got to get you on TV with it.
Commercial. I'm sending you the commercial. You're going to love it, man. You're going to love the commercial.
Good.
Man.
You don't like I used to watch you on TV. You don't like that book, I think it's A Tipping Point or whatever, where they say, like when the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan, they already did that 10,000 hours worth, and they made it look so easy. They knew how to make the girls, and you know how to motivate. So when you're on TV, it's like you've done it. You know the moves. You know what gets people excited, like Battissimo and all this stuff. Because this drink, the fact that you're behind this is exciting, because I often think, why aren't the big guys coming up with a healthy drink that's easy to do? They're not doing it. But that's the beauty of it, is the simplicity. And people right now, especially at this moment, let's not, we're having a great time, but we are in the middle of this pandemic. Yeah. People are concerned, and because there's so many different kinds of messages coming to people. But the one message should be about your health, and that it shouldn't be hard, and that it's about the nutrition you put in your body. And a lot of people are struggling financially too. This is something, supplements, as vitamins are so expensive. Here, one of these right here, I mean, this has got 26 vitamins and minerals. You are set. You feel great. You're filled up. Add a banana, add a couple of dates, some ice, blend it up. You got some great Don't Quit Jake shakes, man. It's unbelievable. People have been telling us chocolate, banana, and some almond butter. Incredible. Vanilla. Don't Quit. I'm glad you're doing this, and it's flavor based. One of my buddies, one of my really good friends, owns. You know who he is? One of the J-Rob. Who does the protein powder.
Yep.
Yeah. And, he had this idea many years ago, and he, all these excuses why he didn't want to do it, the shelf space, blah, blah, blah. So I'm glad you're doing it, because that's my issue. I got to go home, I got to open a bag and do the scoop and get the blender, and then I got to clean the mixer. It's a hassle.
Go like this. You put it in the fridge, shake it up like this. Oh my God. It's a creamsicle, baby.
Is it as good as you're making it look?
I'm telling you right now, this is like melted creamsicle from Good Humor. Every East Coaster knows what a creamsicle is, man.
I know that.
I'm telling you.
I know that flavor. I love that. Hey, listen.
Here it is.
So, Jake Steinfeld, Bodied by Jake. I'm sure I was thinking about this. Couple things changed in your life. You know, Jake from State Farm. My son's name is Jake, so I'm sure the Jake from State Farm comes up every once in a while. And then Seinfeld came along, so they were probably calling you Seinfeld for a while instead of Steinfeld, right? But no, what a success story and what a motivating guy. You know, like as I'm listening to this, because I'm always looking for motivation because there's all things we all want to do. We just can't get ourselves to take action, right? But you gave me some reasons and more reasons to just do it, just to take. I met a guy, I'll never forget this. I was in the worst job in the world for 2 months. I was selling cars. I hated it. Guy in a Maserati pulls up, and it was this guy Bloomfield. Because I was watching a lot of TV. He wrote a book, How to Survive the Loss of a Love, and I saw him on Regis and Kathy Lee, or Regis and whoever was his host. And I said, "What's the secret? How could I drive a Maserati? What's the secret?" He goes, "Look, just do it." And then he closes his door. I never saw him again. And that's what propelled me to kind of just do it. And I like and I'm going to make my 18-year-old listen to this. My 28-year-old son, who's a producer, he's switching this for us, and I'm sure this was motivating for him too. You're doing great work, and your drink, you got to go to don'tquit.com and you can order it.
Just go to don'tquit.com and check it out. Supermarkets around. The thing that's also great too, my youngest son is over at USC, and all of his guys at the frat house are destroying the chocolate and vanilla Max. They love the 30 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. They're digging it. And we're getting, it's interesting. A lot of people, right? I designed this because you never know. Look, you're in the space too, right? When it comes to creating products. You create something, and as we say, we put it out into the wild. You say, this is for this demographic, and you never know what happens. Now, obviously, people 50 plus, have you ever seen, I got to ask last questions. I know you got to go, and so do I. Have you ever seen a person in a gym taking a walk, working in their garden with a bottle of Booster and Sure in their hand?
No.
Never, right? Never. Okay. Because we've spoken to more people, they never talk about it. They never talk about it. It's like when you get that AARP letter in the mail the first time you turn 50 and you look around going, that's not me,
Yeah.
Don't quit is about aspiration. This is something you can be proud of. And you hold this in your hand, don't quit. I'm not going to quit on me. I'm not going to quit on my family. I'm not going to quit on my company, my friends, my country. You take it however you want to take it. But those 2 words, sitting in that refrigerator, nice and chilled up to start your day, in the middle of your day, forget about it.
There you go. Bye, Jake. Thank you so much for coming on the program, and we'll have to have you back. We've got to get you in the studio because you're so close. I've got some other ideas for you. But anyway, that's the end of the Randy Alvarez podcast. We'll see you next week, and Jake will stick around after the show. Thanks.